Hey everyone, this is Jeremiah Warren, and I'm just going to talk you through the behind the scenes of the music video that I directed for Audrey Assad. So I directed this, it's been about 2 or 3 years now, but I'm still really proud of this video, and we didn't have a lot of resources. It was a really, really small budget. So I think in this video I'm going to cover the process of directing a music video for a really low budget. And in full disclosure, not including like my rate, the entire budget for everything else, like props, people, costumes, locations, all of that, was less than $3,000. Which for some of you might be like, oh, that's a lot of money. But keep in mind, we had, I want to say 6 extras, fire, we had like these wood locations, gold paint, costuming, so like slow motion, so there's a lot of fire, so there's like a lot of different things in this where, I didn't want to, like, for some of it maybe I could have asked friends to help out, but I wanted to pay people fairly. So, and I pretty much was able to pay everyone on this project. So I think that's a pretty good budget for what I got. So for the budget, I don't remember the exact cost breakdown of everything, but I do remember the camera rental was probably $500 to $600, and all the costuming came out to about $400 or $500, and I bought that through Amazon. Some of it I was actually able to return later, but not a ton of it. I paid the production assistants each some money. It wasn't like a huge amount, but it was pretty standard for what, a production assistant would be paid. The actress that's in the video was also paid. For the extras, I don't remember if I actually had money to pay them, but I did make sure that I had a lot of food on set, especially because they were coming early in the morning. So I had like donuts and coffee. I had like other snacks. I had options for the people that were vegetarian. The fog machine, I think altogether was about $50 or $60. For locations budget, I did have like $300 or $400 that I paid the property owner, and that's not a lot of money for like locations, but this was like in Alabama where you don't have a lot of film production going on, and it was a friend of mine, so he was fine with that amount. Every single person in this video was someone that I knew, and also some of them were people that I had worked with before. I think that really is what made it possible to be able to do this for such a low budget. So everything was shot across 2 days. The scenes with the people, like the people in the gold and the black, that was shot the first morning, and then after that, it's been a while, I'm trying to remember the order. I feel like I shot something later on that afternoon. The second day we shot the scenes with her, with the woman carrying the torch through the woods with all the smoke, and then later on we shot her being covered with the powder, and then in the evening we shot her with a bonfire, like literally as the sun was setting. The biggest challenge going into this was figuring out the costuming for like a really, really low budget. I ended up finding these cloaks on Amazon that were like $11 or $14, and then they were wearing leggings, black leggings, and then under the cloak they had like this really, really long t-shirt, kind of like those hipster t-shirts that are now popular. I cut off the arms of the cloaks, and then under that, on their skin, they had this gold paint, which I was really excited about that. That was like one of my favorite things, was the gold colored paint. On this project, I did not go into it with a shot list. I had an idea of like what I wanted, but I didn't have specific shots in mind. I did shoot in slow motion, mainly because of the powder and the fire, but also because I didn't have, it was like a 3-minute video, so I needed to kind of fill in some of the time with slow motion. On set, I was directing and filming, and then we had the main actress that was in it, and there were 2 friends of mine that were helping, assisting, moving things around. So for the smoke in the woods, I got a mosquito fogger from Walmart and a butane tank, and instead of putting mosquito fluid, I used mineral oil, and that creates this fog. And so I would just have someone run around with a fog machine. It was a little difficult because the wind caused the fog to move really quickly, and the fog machine isn't really made for like film stuff, so like it was sort of a challenge getting the fog to look just right. But I think that added a lot, just like in the atmosphere, it really added a mood to the video. The scene where she has the powder, the holly powder being thrown on her, that was, I didn't really know how that was going to turn out. I ended up not getting as much footage as I wanted because one of my shipments of the powder did not come in, but it's basically rice powder, and it's very, very fine, it's dyed, and I discovered that when you throw it on your skin or you touch it, it actually will stain your skin. So I was worried that the actress would look blue or pink or whatever for the later scenes. Thankfully, she was able to wash it all out. But we did have to buy 2 dresses because the first one was completely ruined by the powder. And then one other thing I discovered is that you really do need a lot of powder because you just it's this random powder. Like, you never know how it's going to look, so you just have to throw it a lot of times to really get the look that you wanted. And so that's like my only thing, my only major regret. I think the other one is with the torch, which I was actually also really proud of. I didn't age the wood that she's holding, so it kind of looks like something that you bought from Home Depot, which is what I did. To make the torch, I learned this from YouTuber Devin Supertramp for one of his, I believe it was a Zelda video. He talked about, you just basically take a piece of wood, you wrap it very, very tightly in this burlap or canvas fabric, you cover that with kerosene, and then I tied it down with these metal wires so that it stayed down, and then you light that, and it will burn down. And depending on how much fabric you have, it will burn for different periods of time. But I actually made 6 of these, and then on the day of filming, we would just light one up. We would film a really long take. It would burn out, and we'd film it again. So we ended up using all 6 torches. We obviously had a fire extinguisher on set just for safety. We never had to use it, and I believe it had just rained a few days before, so it was like a really safe situation. It was a very complicated shoot because I had only 2 days that I could film it. I had people at certain times. I had to rely on outdoor elements. I didn't know if it was going to be raining or overcast or sunny. On the last night or last afternoon, we were shooting the bonfire scene. It was the very last scene before we finished. We built the fire, and literally, I think we got the fire finished. I got my camera out, and then we started shooting. So it was right as the sun's about to set. And you can't really tell in the video, but there are these power lines running around the property, and there's several houses. So I had to be very careful with my camera angles that I was filming at because of that. And also, I wanted to have the sun at a certain position. So it was all these different challenges to get the shot. And I'm very, very proud of it. Still, 2 or 3 years later, I'm very, very proud of this scene. So I hope this video was helpful and that you learned something. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I'll try to respond as soon as possible. But thanks for watching.